हरिहि ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिहि ॐ.
So coming to pranayama, which is one of the most important pillars of yoga, what is the concept of pranayama, sir?
Well, of course, undoubtedly pranayama is most important, but today it has become fashionable to bring pranayama in yoga. Now, the question should be put whether what is brought in, is it pranayama or is it shvasayam? So, basically it is all dealt with breath under the garb or mask of pranayama. But then it has been called pranayama and not shvasayam. Shwas is also a Sanskrit word, vernacular word. Ayama is of course Sanskrit vernacular word. But why it has not been called shvasayam, but why pranayam? So that's the basic mockery that we make. So therefore, it should actually commence, we are actually using breath in so many endeavors in life which we don't notice. When you are walking, you breathe in one way. If you are running, you are breathing another way. If you are sitting and working, it's another kind of breathing. If you are lying down and working, it's another kind of breathing. We don't take cognizance of it. So, what is this breath? Now, the problem is that it's an English word. Breath is an English word. And therefore, pranayama rendered as breath control is a mockery. It is a blunder. Or breath regulation, pranayama as a breath regulation is again a blunder. So we should know what is really breath and what is prana. The breath is vehicle of prana. I have a car, I am not a car. And I drive myself in a car. So I become a user of the car. A car is my vehicle. I am not a car by myself. I cannot be a car by myself and myself ride on my car, in my car. So the breath is a vehicle. And prana is in the Shastra described as Vishwa Chaitanya Shakti. So it is something universal, something cosmic. Vishwa Chaitanya Shakti. Chaitanya is life. And it is power of life, power behind life, power of the nature of life. So that is what the prana has been described in Shastras. This definition comes in many texts, particularly in Shiva Swarodaya, one of the basic texts, fundamental texts of yoga. Vishwa Chaitanya Shakti. Now your breath is not Vishwa Chaitanya Shakti. It has nothing to do with the universe. It has nothing to do with the cosmos. It has to do with the atmosphere around you, and it has to do with your living. You breathe and you live. So the pran is a totally different idea and concept for which there is no English word. It can be referred to as life force, but which will be imprecise. But however, for convenience in English, we can say it is life force. Otherwise, there is no translation to this word in any language. Any language. Even in our vernacular language, in all languages it's pran, pran, pran. Be that Marathi, be that Hindi, be that Tamil, be that Kannada, be that Gujarati, pran is pran. They have not gone to translate the word into the language. Now, pran is a principle. Now, how will you understand what is prana? So, there are 24 principles mentioned in Sankhya philosophy. They are called universal principles. 24, like we have elements in chemistry, we have 24 principles of the material world. So in the material world, Prakriti, what is called a Prakriti, creative cause. It's a creative cause, not material cause. We think everything is turned out of Prakriti. So we say, but it is a material cause. Like a pot is turned out of clay. Clay is material cause, and the pot is a product of material cause. The Prakriti is called creative cause. With the literal meaning of the word Prakriti means creative cause and not material cause. So it is being a creative cause, it generates something. Creation generates something. Creation generates ideas. Creation generates things. So it's a creative cause, it generates. So in the Sankhya we have spoken about 24 principles starting from nominal first principle called Prakriti or Pradhana or Moola Prakriti. That's how it is referred to. And then the second evolute from that is called Buddhi or Mahat or Mahat Brahma in Bhagavad Gita. So that is the first principle from the primordial matter. And then there are other principles to follow, which sums up to 24 total principles. So one should know what are these 24 principles. So the Mahat is the first principle, great principle, and the contemporary of that is prana. While the breath is Vayu. The breath is a Vayu, prana Vayu, or in vernacular we say Karbadhi Pranil Vayu, prana Vayu inhale, Karbadhi prana Vayu exhale, carbon dioxide exhale, oxygen inhale. So it's the Vayu. So Vayu comes nearly 9 generations after prana. So there is no point in myself identifying myself with my 9th generation before me. I am 9th generation after them. So there is lot of dissimilarity, lot of mutation, lot of changes between my 9th ancestor. So the breathing is with Vayu. And the Vayu is nearly 9 generations after prana. How can you equate? So many principles are falling in between 10, 11, 12, 13, etc. 9 up to 9. And the Vayu is somewhere coming in the 9th generation. And therefore, there is no justification to equate Vayu with prana. Vayu in the sense the gaseous matter with which we inhale and we call it oxygen, and then we emit carbon dioxide. So, Shwasa, Prashwasa is a 9th generation from prana. So the prana is a principle closer to first principle, and this is closer to the 24th principle. So that's why we should not equate. The point is just dealing with the breath is not proper. So basically we have to understand how the breath is used in our life. We don't bother. We say do something physically, do something mentally, do something intellectually, or do something sensorially. So sensory act, physical act, mental act, intellectual act, emotional act. We don't have any breathetic act. We don't have any act of breath. We don't identify as anything as act of the breath. We say, I am climbing the hill, it is my will, mind. Because if you don't have the mind supporting, then you will not climb. So we have physical endeavor, mental endeavor, etc. We don't try to identify the breath as an internal conative energy, conative system and cognitive system. Now that needs to be identified before you go to pranayama. Don't just deal with the inhalation and exhalation. That is a mockery. And the mockery will ultimately become a blunder. If it is not addressed and not set right, then the mockery will become a blunder. So today what is pranayama going on? Inhale from the right, exhale from the left, inhale from the left, exhale from the right, or use the in breath and out breath and do your pranayama. Inhale and hold, exhale and hold, inhale more, exhale more. So we are dealing only with the breath. We don't understand what is the role of the breath within our embodiment. So breath is something, breathing is something which keeps only us living. But when it goes inside, it keeps us lively. We don't just want to be living, because otherwise vegetable condition, vegetative condition also living. You don't declare the person dead. So we don't just want to be living in life condition, we want to be lively. We want everything to function. Now for that to function, that's the energy called prana. So the breath, when it contains the energy within you, then it becomes prana. So the prana is one which is driven, and the vehicle is the breath. Breath itself is not prana. The prana travels in the breath, and that is prana. So therefore, the word is pranayam. Now, what the breath does is not identified by common man, layman. So, in teaching earlier part, what is preceding pranayam, we have to introduce then to breath and its functions. It's a conative organ, it's a cognitive organ, it's a sensitive organ, it's a perceptive organ, it's a motor organ, all kinds of organ. It does everything in us. Like clay is clay, but clay can become a beautiful vase container which is bewitching in beauty. You can make various designs of clay, and then it will be bewitching, it will be useful. So just clay is not useful. Lump of clay you don't carry, but you carry something which is made up of clay. It becomes useful. So the breath, when it goes inside, it manifests like that. So that should be brought to notice, and that should be studied. Now, why yoga has taken recourse to breath is a very interesting dimension. Usually we do everything either by body or mind. You say, my body should do, my mind should do. But the body and mind have a karmic background. They have gravities exercised by our karmas. They have limitations. I cannot be you and you cannot be me, even if you intend to, desire to. It cannot, because of the background, karmic background. The gravities are working on our body matters. Gravities are working on mind matters. So if you do anything physical, you are doing in the karmic framework. If you do anything mental, you are doing in karmic framework. You can't break the frame and do something. So it has a caste, class, creed, gender. Body is masculine, feminine. Mind is masculine, feminine. Psyche, consciousness is masculine, feminine. But the breath has no such thing. Breath has no gender. Breath has no caste, creed, etc. That's why it is Vishwa Chaitanya. It is universal, cosmic. It comes from outside. Now, outside you, there is no man and woman, and you get the breath. So, the karmic gravities are nullified or mitigated or turned down when you start using the breath. Therefore, while you are doing yoga, you are not man or woman or young or old or strong or weak or stupid or intelligent, because they are all in the body and mind. All those are in characteristics of body and mind, while the breath doesn't have anything. So it has no upadhi, no delimitation. So what is called as caste, class, creed, gender, status, stature, condition, etc. So it is an energy. Energy doesn't have all that. See, now this is all working on electricity. Even if it is a hut, it's the same electricity. If it's a palace, it's the same electricity. There is no difference between electricity going to Prime Minister's house and destitute's house in what you call hut. Energy doesn't have any such delimitations. It is even to everyone. Electricity will not differently behave because I am a virtuous person, somebody is vicious. It's not going to make any change where it is going. what it is doing. Now, this light can be kept in a palace, it's going to work the same way. You take it to a pavement, it's going to work the same way, same brightness it will give. So, that is the energy. Energy is altogether different concept. And the pran is energy. So, it is not caught in the delimitation of being young, old, man, woman, etc., or healthy, unhealthy. That is all conditions of the outer sheath of body and mind. Body and mind are healthy or unhealthy, it is not the energy. The same energy goes to a destitute's house, same energy goes to a palace, without any differentiation, without any difference and parity. That is how the energy is. The pran is something like that, and the breath is the carrier of it. And therefore, the breath scores importance in pranayama. So, we should be introducing the students as to what is the role of breath in what you do. You want to do something which is a physical feat, how does the breath come? You want to perform something as an intellectual feat, how the breath comes? If you want to do something mental dexterous act, how the breath comes? If you want to do something as a gross and heavy duty activity, how the breath comes? The breath is being used for so many things. In our natural life conditions also, there are different functions to these vayu inside. We do not just breathe with the inhalation in and exhalation breathe out. For a condition you need belching. You have eaten sumptuously up to brim, you wait for belching, it gives you lightness. Now, belching is also act of breath. Sometimes you need to sneeze, otherwise you are not comfortable. Now, sneeze is act of the vayu, the breath. So, all these acts, belching, sneezing, coughing, these are all acts of the vayu inside. Yawning, I don't know, common man has not identified, we have two kinds of yawns. When there is lack of oxygen, we yawn inhalatively, we inhale and take in. When there is excess of carbon dioxide, we yawn and exhale. So, common man has no observation of this, we just say it is yawn. It is not necessary that somebody is yawning is necessarily lazy person. You know, in mannerisms it is considered to be laziness, somebody is not involved, that is why yawning. No, yawn is a natural thing. When there is excess of carbon dioxide, you will yawn. Out of mannerisms, you may not open your big mouth. You will slightly slit open the mouth and you will yawn out. Or yawn in, because of the, what you call as mannerisms. The yawn is a natural thing. So, there are two kinds of yawn. One is inhalative, one is exhalative. Oxygen is needed, you yawn. Carbon dioxide is excessive, you will yawn. So, it depends upon the level of oxygen and carbon dioxide in you, and it does the reconciliation. It is not necessarily a sign of mental state. I am talking, somebody is yawning. So, I try to attribute that way, that person is not involved or disliking or not attending. No, it is not like that, it is a natural thing. When you are not having a cough as a disease, yet you cough, you will have to cough, you will get a cough. It does not mean that you have a disease of cough. These are all natural acts of the breath. It does so many things. Briefly, those who are interested, I can introduce you to look into a text and try to understand. We have 5 vayus, pran, apan, saman, vyan, udan. We have 5 vayus, which is spoken by the Indian wisdom, Oriental wisdom. Western science does not speak about it. And they have 2 functions. One is internal function, one is external function. And this is beautifully described in one of the commentaries of Sankhya Karika called Yukti Deepika. Yukti Deepika is a commentary on Sankhya Karika, and there, while the principle of pran is described by Sankhya, it describes external acts and internal acts. So, that vayu is both working for external acts and internal acts. That's a very interesting analysis which has come. So it's not just oxygenating and decarboxylating or nitrogenating. See, again the modern man has lost sight of this. Atmosphere has only 20% of oxygen, 21% of oxygen, 72% of nitrogen. But we don't say I am inhaling nitrogen. We say I am inhaling oxygen. Oxygen is required for you to live. The nitrogen is required for you to be energetic. But we don't say I am inhaling nitrogen. I don't say I want to inhale nitrogen. I say I want to inhale oxygen. Because basically I want to live. And therefore oxygen is something which keeps you living. But we inhale 72% of nitrogen while we inhale. We don't account for it. Now this is not done. So nitrogen is a form of energy whereby we are able to function. Oxygen doesn't give you energy. It keeps you living. So that's why in botanical life you will realize, or even biological life, nitrogen keeps you lively. That's why there are predator trees who grab the animals in their vicinity, squeeze them to death. They don't take the blood, they don't take the flesh, but they take the nitrogen from the body. If they have deficiency, they take the nitrogen. We eat the flesh of the animals. Animals eat the flesh of other animals, carnivorous and herbivorous animals. But the plants, we say they are vegetarian. There are some plants which you find in Congo and Amazon forests that they are predators. Any human being in the vicinity or a creature in the vicinity, they quickly grab through their branches and squeeze the life to death and take oxygen. They don't take blood, they don't take flesh, they take the nitrogen. So these are all facts about the nature which common man in business activity doesn't bother. We want our occupation, business to run and we don't bother about the nature. It is important to make the nature a subject matter of our knowledge in yoga. We should understand the nature. You have come from nature. How come you say, I don't bother about the nature? You are part of nature. So you have to understand the nature, and our ancient wisdom tells about the nature. So the prana comes from nature and therefore it is universal, whereas my breathing is personal. I don't inhale for you to live. I don't exhale for you to be decarbonylating yourself. So I decarbonylate myself by my exhalation. I oxygenate myself by my inhalation. My inhalation is not meant for you. My exhalation is not meant for you or anyone. But then why it is called universal? So we will have to inquire why it is universal and not personal. So Shwasayam is all very personal. Pranayam is dealing with the universal energy and it is dealing with the universe inside. Therefore we are told we have Brahmanda inside. We have miniature universe inside. Whatever is outside in the boundless space is within your embodiment in a microcosm form. So therefore we say what is in Brahmanda is in Pindanda. Whatever is in the Pindanda is in Brahmanda. This is ancient wisdom. So we have universe within. I am an individual, but I have universe within. Now, how is the universe within? Then we have to understand our Adibhautik constitution, Adidevic constitution, Adhyatmic constitution. I have all the deities, I have the divinity in me. You have divinity in you. We are just inmates like chowdhuries. People walk in and walk back next morning. They don't even pay rent or nothing. Dharmashala, that's called Dharmashala. So what I say, this is me, I am just a visitor in this embodiment for a period of time. I don't come by applying, I don't enter the body. Nobody gives me notice to eject it, but I have to eject it. So we are just visitors. This is a chowdhury given to us and we have universe within. So that's why we have a different philosophy behind the body, behind the embodiment, which our ancient wisdom tells us about. So the pranayam is universal. It starts with Shwasayam. So therefore, teach the student what is Shwasa, what is Prashwasa, what the Shwasa does, what it can do, what it should do, what it may do, what Uchvasa will do, may do, can do, should do. So introduce them to the breath, which is the vehicle, because it is containing the prana. So if I drive my vehicle from here to, say, Mumbai, those who are sitting in the cars will not say, the car is going to Mumbai, but I am going to Chennai. You go wherever the car is going. So the prana will be going where the breath goes, and the breath will be going where the prana takes, because the driver drives the car. So there is a driver in the car, and driver drives the car. And those who are sitting in the car will go wherever the car is going. It cannot be said that car is going to Chennai, but I am going to Mumbai. I cannot go in the same car to Mumbai. So that's the relationship between the prana and breath which has to be understood. So how the breath has to be used is a beautiful scheme in asanas. Asanas are not postures. So they have a dimension called the breath system, how the breath system is used, how the breath system is addressing, used, using, applied, applying, working, worked upon. This should be introduced before so-called pranayama, otherwise it's all mockery. Teaching them straight away classical pranayama like Ujjayi, Anduloma, Pratiloma, Bastrika, this is all mockery. We have to introduce them what the really breath does within us.
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo